So the first thing we want to do is see if your global view in Google Maps is activated. And let me show you how you can find out if it's activated or not. So let's go to Google Chrome. So we're gonna I have a shortcut to Google Maps, but if you don't go there all the time, just type Google space MAPS, do a search. You'll go right here to Google Maps. Now, for the purpose of this video, let's go to 926 Main Street, Lake Dallas. Okay. Then we can go ahead and collapse this side panel. This is the area that we're gonna demonstrate how that thing works. So and why we use this. If you go to layers, yours might have 1, 2, or 3. Now, if you do not see global view, if it's grayed out, see, it doesn't let me view it, right? So watch what we're going to do. I'm going to click on satellite. If I hold my control key while I'm holding down my left mouse, you see, all it does is move up and down. I want to turn that into a 3D. So this is what we're going to have to do. We're going to go to this 3 vertical dots right here called Customize and Control Google Chrome. We're going to left click here. We're going to go to Settings. We're going to go to System. You see right here where it says Use Graphics Acceleration when available. If yours is grayed out, well, not grayed out, but if it's turned to the left like this and then not blue, that's why we weren't able to do that 3D rotation. So if we click here, it's going to ask you to relaunch. I want you to go ahead and relaunch. Now we can close the settings. We're back to the Google Maps. Okay, I'm going to collapse the side panel. Now, let's go to Google Maps. Go to More. Go all the way down, and now you're able to change that setting. You see this global view, so make sure that it has a blue check mark. And once you go to satellite, now and you can close this window, so if yours doesn't collapse, you can just click here and then you could collapse that window. It's still here on the left hand corner, but it's collapsed, so you have more canvas. Now watch. I'm going to hold my control key with my left mouse. I'm going to left click. I'm going to move up, and all of a sudden I get 3D. I can rotate. Okay, and then I can change it back to 2D. To change it to 2D without clicking here on this 3D, all you have to do is hold your control key and just go down until it doesn't let you view into 3D anymore. Okay, so now that's how you can activate your global view in Google Maps. In this part of the video, I'm going to show you how to measure in 2D and 3D. So the first one is, let me show you how to measure in 2D. If you see 3D here, that means you're already in 2D. So if you click here, you'll notice that if it says 2D, that means you're on 3D. So let's go to 2D. I want to measure from here to here. I'm going to enlarge this as much as I can. That's as far as I can go. I'm going to right click wherever you have your mouse. If I right click here, this is where the measurement starts. But I want to start right here, so I'm going to right click here. I'm I'm going to click on measure distance. You notice that it put a white dot with a black outline on there, right? Now, if I left click here, you're going to see a measurement. See this measurement right here? That's 77.50. That's the distance from here to here, or it's 22.63 meters, right? Okay, so that's that measurement. Now I'm going to show you how to measure in 3D. That one is a little harder. So the first thing I want to do is go ahead and clear this measurement. I'm going to turn my video into 3D. Sometimes, for instance, down here, it's hard to see. You see right here, this and this are bay windows. So let's go ahead and go right here so I can show you how to measure from here to here. Now, in this case, it would be easier to measure from here to here because this is pretty much, it's pretty easy to see. But let me show you how I do it on 3D. Let's say that I couldn't see that bay window. If we go to 3D, same thing here. If I right click here, go to measure distance, it put it right where I want it. Sometimes it's not gonna put it exactly where I want, and let me show you what I mean by that. So the next measurement, I want the distance from here to here, correct? So look what happens if I left click here. You see this dot? It put it way up there. And the difference between this 45-degree angle and a vertical distance from left to right is much different. Because look, right now we're seeing a distance of 6.78. It's because it's measuring from here all the way up to that 45-degree angle. I'm gonna left click this. Now this is tricky, guys, so you know you just gotta learn how to do this. It's not as hard as it looks, but if you left click here, now I can move that dot. You see how I threw it all the way to the bottom? Now watch, look where my mouse is, but look where that dot is. Now if I put it right where I want, and oops, let's go right there, and I release my mouse right there, now you see a distance of 14.54. I'm going to go ahead and write that down because I'm going to need that measurement later. And 14.54. So that one was pretty easy. I'm going to show you a different one that's probably going to be harder. For right now, we're going to go ahead and keep that measurement because we're going to need that later on for this exercise. I'm going to go ahead and clear this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my 2D because I want to rotate this by holding my control key. I'm going to grab this thing and look, I'm going to just rotate it down and right. Oops. I'm going to leave it right there. I'm going to move it up a little bit. I'm going to go down a little more. So this is the bay window that I can't see. Not just that, but look, there's a gable roof right here. I can't see what the distance from here to here is. I need that distance, okay? And I want to see what really the distance on this gable roof is. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit my control key, go to my 3D, and now you can start seeing. You can see that this gable roof ends here and it ends there. And now I'm able to get a distance measurements. But now you're going to notice that it's going to be hard to get the measurement from here to here. I know that from experience. I'm going to right click on the corner of this. This thing is called a bay roof. Okay, so I'm going to right click, ask for a measurement, and it threw it up there. Watch. When I click on this thing and try to move it, it's going to bounce all over the place. And it's just going to take some time to do this. But I'm going to left click, and you see it threw it way up there. I'm going to slowly try to get it up as close as I can. See, I told you this is going to be a tricky one. So for the purpose of this well, not just for the purpose of this video, at this point I am just going to try to go right here. Let's go right there. Okay. It is giving me, and remember, I knew this was going to happen. So let's go ahead and get it as close as we can right there. But what you want it to be is vertically aligned right here, as close as you can. Now we're going to get this one here. I need to know the difference from here to here. And what you want is, first I want to be able to align this here, but also I need to horizontally go from here to here, but also vertically I need to go from here to here. So I'm going to left click here. Now you see it threw it way to the right, but it's really horizontally okay, but I need to move it to the right a little bit, because vertically I need to go this way. Okay, so I'm going to left click, I'm going to move it to the left, and look, it's thrown it. You got to just be real patient, and we're going to go down just a hair. And I'm going to release it right there. That's close. Now on this particular one, from here to here, the distance is probably about 10.5 feet. Okay, so we're gonna put 10.5, and now we know that smaller one, that bay window is 10.5. The other one was 14.54. So I got those two measurements. And so for right now, we're going to go ahead and stop here. I can get this other measurements. Let's see how hard it's going to be. If it's not real hard, we go ahead and get this other two measurements. So on this one gable roof, let's see how hard it's going to be to get the measurement. So right click, measure distance. It kept it where I want it. I need to go vertically right through here. So let's see if I left click here, it threw it way up there. Let's kind of just move it down and see if it lets me horizontally and vertically align. You see, it's real hard to do that. So either I have to vertically put it way up there, grab this one, and vertically do the same thing at the same level. Right there. Yeah, right there. So that distance is probably about 13. From here to here is probably 13. Okay, so let's pick a small gable here. I'm writing some notes. Small gable, and I'm going to say that's about 13.22. This other one will be pretty easy to do once I got this measurement. Okay, so that's how I measure using 2D and 3D. Remember, 2D is very simple. 3D, it's a little tricky, but I tell you what, when you're in the field and you're not there, this will get you pretty close to where you need to be. Once you get out there in the field, then you would probably, you're going to measure it by hand. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a snippet or a snapshot of an image so that we can bring it into Xactimate. So first of all, let's go to 2D. And then, so, and for the purpose of this particular video, I want to show you how to rotate and bring it into Xactimate. So for just this purpose, let's go ahead and hit the control key, and let's bring this over like this. Okay, but we're gonna turn it into a 2D. Okay, I'm rotating it. So what I'm gonna do is try to enlarge it, you know, not completely, but just enough so that it looks it'll look okay when we bring it in. And I want to make sure that this is in 2D. Remember, if you see 3D, that means that's 2D or 2D. So I'm gonna keep it kind of crooked so that I can show you how to rotate that into Xactimate. So I want it a little crooked. I can straighten it up. We're not going to do that. I want to show you something. And the reason that I rotated it like this is so that it'll be easy for you to take a snippet. I have a whole complete new video out there about snippets. Okay, so we're gonna, hopefully you already know how to do this. If you hold your Shift, Windows, S, then everything will get grayed out. Your snippet tool will appear. You'll see that. And I want to make sure I clear this area and this area. So we're going to go up a little high and to the left. So I'm going to left click and drag until I get to right here. You see, I passed the right hand corner, and I passed the bottom lower corner. So now I'm going to go here, I'm going to release it, and it took a snapshot of it, right? So let's go to the desktop. If you go to this went to a different screen. If you go to your screenshots, if you have your program set right, and let's go to the screenshots. I'm going to go to the right. I'm going to go all the way to the left one. There's that snippet we just took. I'm going to move it over to the desktop. Close that. I don't need that no more. Now we're going to go into Xactimate. We're going to import this into Xactimate. Now I want you to open up Xactimate and just create a new estimate or use an old estimate. It doesn't matter. We're just gonna do some practicing. So if you go to your options, you go to import underlay image. Just go straight to my desktop. Here's that image that we just took a snippet of. So I'm going to double click. I am going to enlarge it by clicking here. This will fill up my whole screen. Remember, we took a measurement from here to here. In Xactimate, what I would do is I would left click here, and then I just drag this down. I release my mouse. I'm going to left click. Remember that measurement we had was 81.33. We're going to hit OK. Make sure you hit OK here, and that will bring it into Xactimate. Now that we have it in Xactimate, I want you to hit S, just the key S. You're going to see a snap line. You see how it's crooked? If I go to this left hand corner, on the right hand corner you see that it's not lined up. So watch, see, left, look to the right, down here it's not lined up. I'm going to hit escape. Now I'm going to show you how to rotate this image and align it and straighten it up all at one time. So if I click on the image, I go to Tools, I go to Rotate. There's this thing called Free rotate. Long time ago it used to be ortho rotate. Now it's called free rotate. Oh, excuse me. It's called straighten. Now I'm going to left click on this corner right here. While I have my mouse down, I'm going to go right here. You know, right here. I'm going to release my mouse, and then I'm going to click on it again, right where it's at. And now you notice that it rotated. So now we're going to hit the S, which is your snap line, and we're going to see, now you can see, look, here and here it lines up, here and here it lines up. So we have a pretty good alignment. While I have this here, I'm going to go ahead and put a snap line right here, because that's where I want to start my my sketch. So whenever you have an image or a roof you want to evaluate, once you get the experience, you can look at a roof and see where the main roof is. So now let's go ahead and start sketching this thing. So if we went to the image itself and we went into the 3D view of this, you would see that this thing here is a very pitchy roof. Okay, look how pitch, I mean, that thing is very pitched. So I have a bunch of tools, and you know, all of y'all that know how many videos I got, that I have ways to determine the pitch just by looking at Google Maps. So watch my other videos. But I know that one of the highest pitch is 13 pitch. So let's go to Xactimate. Okay, so first I'm going to hit F for roof. I'm going to hit space until I get my hip roof. I'm going to left click. I'm going to click on the roof itself. I'm going to hit Control Enter. You see right here where the slope, I clicked on slope rise for right. I'm going to go ahead and put 12. No, excuse me. I'm going to start with, yeah, we're going to go ahead and hit 12, okay? And we're going to hit Enter. But here, I want it to be no. All my slopes are not going to be the same. So I'm going to hit Enter. I'm going to click on the roof. I'm going to snap to it right here. I could put a snap line here to show you. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll show you some tricks that there's a lot of ways to do this. So watch what I'm going to do, and then I'll do the snap line. Okay, look. If I click on this right hand corner white box, I can move this over to the right. I do not have to keep this, my mouse parallel to this or vertically. I can move this mouse down, and it's vertically aligned to the right side of my roof. So in other words, if I wanted to go right to here, you'll notice that my right vertical of my roof lines up to the top and vertically to where my mouse is. So this is where I want this thing to be. I'm going to release this. I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to left click. Watch, I can move my mouse anywhere I want, but I want to align it to this bottom part of the roof right here. Okay? And remember, I can go up and down wherever I have my mouse vertically, horizontally is going to align to where my mark is. I'm going to release it. Yours probably looks like this. Okay, now I hit my Shift O to get my outline. Okay, so we're going to be using that a lot. We're going to hit Shift O and Shift O. That takes you to outline and your regular view. Okay, so the outline allows us to make changes to, or not just make changes, but to determine different pitches. Now what I want you to do is I want you to click on this roof. I want you to hit Shift plus. What that did, let me reduce it down. Whatever you select and you hit the Shift plus, it will enlarge it where you can see the whole image, or not the whole image, but what you selected as much as you can in front of you. I'm going to go ahead and click on this arrow here. Another thing I want you to let's say your Xactimate looks like this and like this. What I want you to do is I want you to hit your Shift Enter. That gives you more canvas here. I'm going to click here, and that's going to give us additional canvas. It's real easy to get all that back. All you do is hit Shift Enter, and you get all, those two different kinds of settings back. Okay, so this is how I want to work right now. Let's go ahead and start getting this thing drawn. We have here, let me show you something. So Shift O. These things are called facets. We got facet A, B, C, and D. Now let's hit Shift 0. I know this is pretty close to a 12 facet. Okay, so from here to here it's real long versus from here to here. So I have a lot of videos that explain what I'm about to show you, but this will give you some kind of a little bit of idea. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is move this over, this one, the center part over down here, and I want to hit Control Enter. This is going to give me my properties. This is facet D. From my experience, between here to get this thing up this far, I'm probably looking at about 8 to 9. So let's go ahead and start with 9. So if I click here, hit 9, enter. It got it close, right? Let's click off of it. You see, now look, we're close. Let's click again, hit enter, Control Enter. Let's change it. Let's go a little bit further. We'll go 8.9. Now that got me closer, but before I start, let's go ahead, Control Enter, and let's change it to an 8. Okay, now it's much closer, right? Now if you notice, facet D is a line here and a line here. That's pretty close. But look down here. If you were looking at this particular roof, you would notice that from here to here, it's not lined up with this. So that means that facet B is, facet B is not quite where it should be. I would say instead of it being a 12, maybe 11. So let's hit Control Enter. Facet B, let's change it to 11 and see how close we get. Almost got us there. So let's hit Control Enter one more time, and let's change it to a 10. Okay, now you see that's lined up and that's lined up. Now you see a small little valley here, but that's because of this, not because of this part. So that looks pretty lined up. Now we have our first roof. Now this is going to be our main roof. And let's continue drawing this thing. The next thing I want to do is go ahead and create this gable roof right here. I'm going to hit my brake tool. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to hold my control key. I'm going to grab this white box in the center. I'm going to left click and drag to right here. Need to go down a little bit more. There you go, right there. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to first what we need to make sure is determine what C is right here, F3. So let's hit Control Enter. C is 12. So on this gable, A has to be 12. Okay, now we get that smooth thing right there, right? And then B, we want B to be 8. And then the only thing we got to do here, C, let's try 11. Now we got that looking good right there. So let's go ahead and do this next gable. Now we got another hip roof here. So a few things you can do to make it easier. Let's go ahead and hit S. Let's hit S for snippet. Let's put a snap line here. Let's hit S. Put another one right, let's say right here. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit my B for brake. I'm gonna left click right in this corner here. I'm gonna, while I'm holding my left button on my mouse, I am gonna go right to here. I'm gonna release it. I'm gonna hit my control key. I'm going to click right here, left click, drag down, snap to that bottom line, and hit release. Now, everything looks pretty close, but look, for some reason, this one is different, right? So watch what we're going to do. First, I'm going to hit Control Enter. And I want to change this into a first I need to see what C is. So I'm going to hit Control Enter. C is 11. So I want to make sure when I click here that C is also 11, which is it is. Now I want to move this thing over to the left. So if I go to B, change that to, let's say, a 7 tab. Got it closer. One thing I don't like is I need to get this up a little bit more. So to hit C, I'm going to change that into a 12 tab. Control Enter. B, I'm going to, okay, so we changed that to a 6. That's closer. Okay, so we're going to leave it like that. You could play around with this thing and you get it perfect, but that's going to be close. When you get out there, you're actually going to measure it again, because you're going to print this out. You're going to go to the site itself, and then you'll make sure that all your pitches are correct. So while we're still in this area, let's go ahead and create that bay window. So let's go to our Google map. You notice we got that bay window there, and when we measured from here to here, we measured about 14.54. So there are a couple of other other measurement that we have to kind of keep in mind. we need to make sure, since this hip roof, the we probably want to go as far as down here, okay, on the bay window. So this is what we need to do. First of all, we know that it's about 14.54. So what I want to do is go to my area. With this area I can get measurements, okay? So if I click here and change the height to 14.54, that's basically how big that bay window was. Okay, so now, but you see, if I try to put this up here, it bounces off of it because there's some measurements there. There's some roofs. It's not going to let me put that area in there. But I do want to get the distance from here to here. Okay, so let's go all the way down here, because I think I see some of it right here. So if I hit Shift R, let me see what the annotation is. Rectangle. I know my commands, I just don't know the names of them. Okay, so Shift R, and I want to go from here to here. That's going to give me my depth. So let's grab this right here and change the depth right here. I can delete that now. So that's what size I want my bay window to be. So if I hit F, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I hit my space bar 10 times. I can, let's enlarge this area. I can go to one corner, left click, drag to the right and to the tip of the bottom right there, release it. I can go ahead and move my bay window out of the way. I don't need that no more. Now I'm going to grab this bay window. I'm going to move it around where I can hit my tab until I get that. So now if I move this bay window over, so I want it centered into the gable right about there. I'm going to release it. I'm going to hit my Shift O. I'm going to hit 3 for my 3D. Now if you notice, this really needs to go up to about right there. Okay, so I need to give it a more of a pitch. So I'm going to hit Control Enter. Instead of 4, let's change it to a 6, and let's see if we went too far. A little bit. So let's change it to a 5. Enter. That's going to be close enough, and that probably looks pretty close to this. Oh, actually it goes a little bit higher, so it's probably a 6. So let's go ahead, hit Control Enter, change that into a 6, and it did go a little bit higher in that area there. Okay, so now, so we have this so far. Let's go ahead and do this other area. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is do this pull out. And what it looks like to me, by what I see in here and here, this looks like a half hip. So the easiest way to do this is just hit B for break, click here, I'm going to hit my control key, I'm going to move this over to right in this corner right here. Okay, so I'm going to release, and if you remember, you know, we had to go by what this was, and that was a 10. Okay, so let's hit Control Enter, and this is C, so C has to be a gable. So here I want it to be only the D. Okay, And now when you click here, it might look a little weird. I hit space bar to move this thing over. You see this little white box here? I'm gonna move it to the left. It's probably gonna go to right here, but I'm gonna move it to the left until this line lines up right here. So left click, I'm gonna move it over to about right there. Didn't go all the way, but see, it took care of this part. This looks good. This looks good. Now all I'm gonna do is left click here, snap one time. That gets me this part. Alright, so this pull out right here is at a 45-degree angle, and it's a gable and a hip, so we're gonna need another half hip. So if I hit F for roof, hit space, 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 I get my half hip. I'm gonna hit Control Enter. I'm gonna start with a 10 degree pitch, 10-inch pitch. I'm going to click here, drag, and I'm going to hit Shift, Tab will give me the right angle that I want. I'm going to click here, move this to the left, click here, move this to the bottom. Okay, now before you start trying to get this close to this, you want to make sure that you have the right angle. And I'm just snapping one just like I did on this one. So the first thing I want to try to do is line up right here. And remember, B was 10, so we want this C and D to be 10. So Control Enter, and they're both 10. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is make sure to line this line and this line. The easiest way to do that, hit Shift U to get rid of my underlay. I'm going to enlarge this as high as I can. So I'm going to click here, left click until those two are lined up. Just like that. Now, another thing I need to line up is this and this right here. So let's click here and enlarge this as high as I can, where I can see this and this. This little dot has to line up right here. So I'm going to grab this, move it to the left until that kind of lines up right there. Go down. That looks lined up. I'm going to hit my Shift U to get my underlay back. Everything's looking good, except I don't like the way this looks. So I'm going to hit Shift Enter, and I am going to change A into a 12 and see if that's too much. 11, Enter. That's close. We could play, like I said, we can play and play to get it perfect, but you know, we're going to get down there and we're going to measure everything. Okay, we just want to get close for right now. This would actually pass if, you know, if you couldn't go there and measure. Now, we got a gable right here. Alright, while we're here, let's go ahead and take care of this. Let's hit B for break. Let's click right here. And all I'm going to do is hold my control key and just click here once. Okay, I'm going to click here. I'm going to hit Control Enter. I'm going to change this into a gable. Okay, now, so I'm going to move this. So the problem here, if you see something like this, is because this and this are not the same angle. If I remember, C should be 11, C should be 10. Okay, so I'm going to click here, hit Control Enter. A should be 10. Okay, and now what I want to do is line those up right here. So let me go ahead and turn off my underlay. Let's click here and enlarge this and just line that up. Let's hit Shift O, Shift U, 3D. Okay, and let's see if that's what it should look like. So if we go in this area down here, and there it is. That's what it should look like. Okay, so let's hit Xactimate, and let's go ahead and hit 1 for 1D. Hit Shift, and remember, when you see this stuff here, they're usually not sticking out. That's just the way that your shadows look like. Okay, so I'm gonna hit Shift U, Shift O, to make sure that everything looks good, and it does. And Shift minus so we can see everything. Next thing we want to do is go ahead and take care of this gable and this gable. So let's enlarge the area. I'm going to hit my brake tool. I'm going to left click, hold my mouse, drag to the right, release my mouse, hold my control key, left click here in the center white box, move it up till about right there, release. Click here, hit Control Enter. We're going to change this to a gable by clicking here and just click G twice, and it turns into a gable. Hit Enter. We're going to go ahead and move this up a little bit to about right there, and you see how this looks weird down here. So if you look at this D right here, you'll see that D has an 8. So if I click here, hit Control Enter, change my A to 8, you see how it fixed it? Now from here to here, you see how far that's off. So I'm going to go to hit Control Enter, B, let's change it to 8, see what happens. And they got it closed. Maybe we went too far, 9. Okay, so that takes care of that one. Let's just click B for brake, click here, hold the control key, left click on this white box, move it over to the right, click here, hit Control Enter, change it into a gable, and we're going to grab this white box, move it all the way to the right. Now look how far those two are apart. Probably because if I A is probably a different angle. Okay, so let's go to Control Enter, A, let's change that to an 8. There you go. Nope, not enough. We went too far. Let's go to a 9, and it looks better. A still looking a little weird. A, that's closer out there. Okay. If y'all remember earlier, we measured this bay roof, and I agreed that it was like 10.5. So I'm gonna get my area, get the length to be 10.5, and now as far as the distance from here to here, if you remember last time, I hit Shift R, I clicked here and got to about this far. Okay, now that's going to be my depth, so I'm going to move this over here, grab this, move it to that. And remember, the reason I'm not using this for my depth, because if I click here, it's not going to let me. So I just use a bunch of different tricks. So now let's hit F for roof, hit the space bar 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna left click, drag down to about right there, move this over, delete that, grab this, and first of all I'm going to change that to about a 6. I'm going to grab this, move it over to the center, which is right there. I know that looks a little weird. Actually, you know what? Let's move it over right there. About right there. Okay. So let's hit Shift O, 3 for 3D, and that's what that would look like. So the last thing we have is 2 gable roofs right here. Okay, so now I'm gonna hit Shift O. Last time I said that small little gable roof should be about 13 feet wide. What I'm gonna do is just gonna hit the area, get about a 13-foot long so if I go right in here, I can go ahead and, oops, it's not gonna let me. So I'm gonna go about right here, hit my snap line, put it right here. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click right here, hit my brake tool, click here, hold my control key. All I'm gonna do is just click once here, go in here, hit Control Enter. I'm going to change that into a gable by hitting GG, Enter. I'm going to get this, move it over right there. Now, I'm going to turn off my underlay, go in here, and move that over to there. I'm going to hit Shift U for underlay. And now you see this angle right here. I'm going to try to kind of straighten that up. I'm going to hit Control Enter, and let's change that to 11 and that to 11. Hit Enter. See how it kind of, maybe even a 10 here, 10/10, Enter. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab another. So actually what I'll do is I'm going to grab this, I'm going to hit Control C, Control V. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control C, Control V, and that's going to copy that gable right here. I'm going to grab it, move it all the way down here, grab this down here, and move it over a little bit more. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to hit Shift O, click here, hit 3 for 3D. I'm going to come in here and grab this. You see this little gray arrow here? I'm going to go up until I join those two together, like that. Hit 3D, excuse me, 1 for pan view, and I am gonna hit 3 for 3D, and that's how we got that part right there. Okay, so now if you go in here and you look, you notice that we have that, that, and that. And there we go. So that's about it. There, you know, and you can actually get closer to a bunch of this stuff, but I just wanted to show you some of the tricks that you can do with Xactimate. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you on the next one.